It's already 1 p.m., so April Fool is finished. So in this session, no fake news, no fake data, so don't worry. And in this session, I want to give some introductions about intents and deep dive to, especially for the cross-chain intents or basic on the on-chain data. So sometimes people tell a lie for your friends for something, but on-chain data don't tell a lie. So do not have to trust, just verify, back to the basic. And first of all, I create some Slido. So if you have some questions, please ask me anytime. And I will have some asking session after that. But first of all, I want to introduce myself. And I'm Goki. I'm founder of the Futaba Protocols. And I'm from Aichi Prefecture in Japan, which is the headquarters of Toyota. And I graduated from Nagoya University. This is an alumni, former Toyota's CEO. So a lot of the people around me want to join the Toyota as an ultimate goal, but I'm totally not interested in joining this kind of big companies. So I want to deep dive into the crypto before 2022, and I deeply researching and development interoperabilities for 3 years. So here's the agenda. So first of all, I make some introductions. What is the intent? And next, I want to give some examples like swap and cross-chain intents as well. And I follow to the on-chain queries. I introduce about breach use case and future challenges and the next initiative. So first of all, I want to talking to intents introductions. But this is how Uber and Grab step-by-step users flow by introductions. So first of all, if we want to go somewhere, we are using some Uber or Grab. So first, we can choose destination. I want to go to somewhere, and next, match the driver. And next, we can take a ride, and if I arrive at the destination, I have to verify it and pay some money. So how about we abstract this process? So first is express intent, whatever. But I want to go here, I want to buy something, or I want to do blah, blah, blah. And the next, match executor. So on the application side, they can find best performer or user or some off-chain anywhere, but we can find some best executor. And the next, execute intents. On the taxi, we can just ride and go to destination, but intent make some actions and settle outcome. So we have to verify the transaction is successful and pay some fees. And this is the intent flow on the blockchain. So first of all, user can make some intents. For example, I want to swap some ETH, or I want to bridge some asset, or I want to some NFTs, anything. And then on the off-chain side or on-chain side, we can match executor. So it's based on, for example, some price, some speed, or some performance. But we can find some executors. So between that, we can using RFQ, request for quotations. So a lot of executors make some quotations, and we can decide who is the best person to execute this kind of transactions. And after that, on-chain side, we can execute transactions. And settle is occurred. So first of all, we can check the transaction is done or not. And if this is successful, we can pay some revenues after that. So why we use intents? So first of all, we're going to make more user experience, because only user side should have do is just make some intents and assign transactions. And after that, it automatically finds some executors, transactions occurred, and payment is automatically done. And second point is execution optimizations. For example, on the swap side, we can find the best root executor. Or cross-chain swap, we can find most fastest transactions executor. And the last one is MEV resistance. So we can find good person, not only find good person, but also we can make some secure way to make transactions because intent itself is off-chain. So next step, I want to introduction some swap use case. And first of all, in the intent swap, we have 3 point of the view. So first one is, of course, we want to improve some user experience. So user side, it's very difficult to find the good swap route. So instead of this, just user have to do is, I want to swap A token to B token, and after that, easily to swap. And second point is we can easily to find best executions because by RFQ, it's automatically find good executors. And the last one is in terms of swap, there are a lot of MEV, so we can predict this kind of MEV attacks. So in this session, I want to introductions about Uniswap X a little bit. But this is the fourth step on the Uniswap X. So first of all, declare swap intent and auction for best swap and swap execution by filter and swap settlement. So first one, declare swap intent. So this is a front end on the Uniswap, and if you put on some amount and choose some tokens, it's automatically calculate on the Uniswap side. And on the Uniswap side, compared to existing liquidities and Uniswap X, this is an intent model solutions. If Uniswap X is good performance, it's automatically executed by the filter. And auction for the best swap. So Uniswap RFQ right now basically using for the Dutch auction. And Dutch auction, at the first time, the price is good for the user side. And time by time, it goes down the price, so it's more good buy for relayer side or filter side. And good point of the Dutch auction is fair pricing for users and incentivize fast and efficient executions. However, the challenging is if we cannot find good solvers or filters, just time-sensitive executions and possible inefficiently and low activities. So next, I want to introductions about cross-chain intents. So compared to swap, cross-chain intent is different goals for everyone. So first one is gas price. We can reduce gas price compared to any existing cross-chain bridge. And next is speed. So only few seconds we can execute transactions. And last one is securities. By the way, why we have to pay a lot of gas fees and waiting a lot of the time, and sometimes this liquidity is leaked before like 2 years ago. So I want to make some introductions how to bridge the existing model. So basically, a lot of liquidities exist, like lock and swap, lock and mint, or liquidity lock and unlock model. But basically, first of all, user have to lock the tokens. And after that, we have to make some verifications on the source chain side, like optimistic, ZK, validator, whatever, but we have to verify it. And on the blockchain too, after the verifications, unlock the tokens. So user can get token. But problem is, first one is we have to pay gas fees for verifications and wait for block finalizations because we have to verify the source chain transactions. And second point is if the bridge is lock and mint kind of solutions, there are risks that leaked tokens could be exploited or leaked in the source chain side. So transaction flow bridge edition is, first of all, make some intents on the source chain side, and second, RFQ, and third, bridge executions and verifications and settlement. So first of all, user have to lock the token on the blockchain one source chain side, and every single off-chain actor, we call it solver, observe the source chain transactions. And by the RFQ, the protocol decided who's gonna be executor at these transactions. So at this time, solver A can execute transactions, for example, and this solver fills the intents before block is finalized. And user can get token. So a few moments later, a lot of the people using this kind of intents protocol, so some tokens are locked on the source chain side, and after that, transaction is verifications. For example, optimistic, ZK, validator, anyway. And if transaction is verified, the token plus fee is unlocked for the solver side. So why intent solves key breach challenges? So first one, gas fees, because verification is batch after the execution, so we can reduce some gas fees as well. And for the speed, before block is finalized on the source chain side, the solver executes transactions on the destination chain. So this meaning like intent protocol, solver have some risk for block finalizations as well, but user can get token as first as possible because solver take a risk. And third one is securities. So we can, this model, we don't provide it source chain liquidities, so we can reduce 1 point of hack point. But of course, every single transactions or every single verifications gonna be hack point, but we can reduce some kind of hack point in the intents protocol. And yeah, let's take a look at the on-chain data. And I want to introductions about Across, because right now, a lot of the people using the Across, and recently Uniswap X also integrated Across protocol as well, and this is some front runner of the intent breach. So first of all, like Uniswap, Across is also give some front-end side, so you can go some website and put some amount on the front-end side. We can choose which chain we want to send and which kind of the token we want to breach, and input the amount. And on the Across, who's gonna be the executor? This is decided by the first to fill the wins. So in the Across, the first solver can call fill V3 relay, becomes the executor of the transactions. So this means speed is very important for solver side. And the verification model, Across using the optimistic way, so like over every single 90 minutes, the execution is verified, and we can choose two types of settlement options. So first one is, for example, I want to swap a breach base chain to Ethereum chain, and solver execute on the destination chains for the intent. They have two choices. So first one, if you use Across LP, the solver can get directly on the Ethereum chain. They can get back to their tokens, or direct claim from locked fund. So in this case, the solver can choose get fund from base chain or Ethereum chain. So let's take a look on the on-chain data. So this is some example which is actually executing transactions by solver side. So first one is successfully filled and delivered tokens to user on the destination chain. So it's filled. And second one is failed to fill because other relayer already filled the intent, so this relayer cannot fill. So just pay the gas fees and failed to transactions. And third one is verifications. So Across protocol, if successful, they can verify it and give back to the fund to solver. And this is a relayer market share by number of transactions. So as the pie chart shows, over 50% of the transactions executed by 4 solvers. And another one is executed by like 15 solvers. So in the total market, executing on the Across is like 20 solvers. They join, and over the half of the transactions executed by only 4 top solvers. And here is by the token, what kind of token is breached on the across protocol. So over 50% the user breach by RapidEase, and 40% to 60% the USDC is breached, and it's only 2% breach to wrapped Bitcoin. And this is the layer distributions by tokens. So this pie chart shows the RapidEase is fully decentralizations compared to wrapped Bitcoin. So this pie chart shows if major token is breached, it's more like decentralization breach because a lot of the solver join this kind of transactions. But wrapped Bitcoin, this is a minor. It's only 2% of the transactions on the total. So it's only few solver can join this kind of market. So over the 60% transactions executed by one solvers. And here is a relay volume by transactions, relay volume by transaction value range. So this pie chart is number of the transactions, but this pie chart is the transaction volume. So over the 60% of the transaction is executed by only one relayers. So the reason is I break down some amount of the range of the breach tokens, and over like small amount of the breach, a lot of the solver can join this kind of opportunities so they can fill the transactions. But for example, over the 100K plus breach volume, over the 97% transactions executed by one solvers. So this figure shows if user want to breach some small amount, a lot of solver can join and compete some transactions. But if big amount, because some solvers cannot prepare for the tokens, so breach is not successful for this kind of solver. And so this is a relay example, top transactions volume performer. So this solver prepare for over 10 million USD on the tokens, and they put on the tokens every single chain, like 50K to 4 million in asset across the chain. So this relay can fill any kind of range of the breach volume. And next example is highest transactions count. So this solver only have 40K in inventory, and every single chain, it's only 50K on each chain, but this solver can optimize for executing transactions as fast as possible and as much as possible, so they can make some capital utilizations and fill a lot of the intents. And here is another intent type of breach, but compared to across, this kind of breach is not yet decentralizations because we needed to permission in order to join the solver network. So it's only few filters join this kind of intense protocol. So this is the big four summaries. So first one is across is compared to any kind of intense protocol, a lot of solver can join this kind of market. And second point is we can choose what kind of strategies we're gonna make. So for example, if you want to make some big profit or big tractions, we can execute, prepare for a lot of inventory and execute transactions. Or if you want to make much transactions as possible, we can set up some strategies and execute transactions. So it depends on the solver. And third point is inventory-driven limitations. So some solvers cannot prepare for enough money in order to fill the intent. So for example, like over the 100K intents, if I want to fill, I also have to prepare for over 100K inventory as well. So it's a little bit hard to some solver as well. So it's not yet decentralized, this kind of highly volume transactions. And fourth one is token popularity efficient. So the more major token is, the more decentralized. So its layer distribution trend to be. And next, I want to introduction some future challenges. But why federal decentralization is matters? I pick up 3 reasons. So first one is performance optimizations. So key point on the intents is how can we make RFQ request for the quote in order to optimize the output. But if we cannot find good filters, the transaction is failed or user can get not good outcome. So this is very important to find and creating a lot of the solvers and good RFQ as well. And the second point is also liveness. So major filters goes down, the entire bridge could be failed. And decentralization ensures system resistance. And third one is preventing intent censorship. For example, if only one solver can execute every transactions, they can choose this intent make execute or not. So this is some risk of the censorship. So this is not good for the intent protocol ecosystem. And here is the challenges to filter decentralization. So first one is entry barriers. So this is like validators. If I want to join the Ethereum validators, I have to prepare for over the 32 ETH and set up some off-chain node, and I have to running good infrastructure. So this is kind similar to problem. In order to join the solver intent market, we have to set up off-chain node and prepare for some inventories, and we have to create some strategies. So it's a little bit difficult for normal users. And the second point is profitabilities. And especially for the new intent-based protocol, transaction volume is still low and user is still few people. So this market is hard to creating strong economic incentives for filters to participate. And the last one is securing a large amount of the capital. So it's very hard to fill the high volume intents because we have to make a lot of the ETH or a lot of USDC before fill the intents. So that's hard as well. And finally, I want to introduce some initiative. So first one is Open Intents Framework. So built by Ethereum Foundation, Hyperland, and others. This is a shared framework for cross-chain intent execution. So this is a good point, is if someone want to creating new type of intent applications, they don't have to creating applications from scratch, but they can use Open Intents Framework and build on very easily. And not just spec, OIF is SIP's real code and infrastructure to make intents work today. And finally, I want to introduce our product Miki a little bit. But our idea is like Rido. So Rido open to everyone can join the Ethereum validators market to everyone with only just staking the ETH. So this is a similar concept. So if user stakes the tokens on the Miki, they can get solver reward. And solver side, they can fill the intents by using our board. So we can break some entry barriers, and a lot of the high volume, it's very hard to prepare for the inventory, but if we can creating some boards, the solver can borrow the asset from the board and fill the intents. And also, this is some niche, but we can creating some gas focusing and intent aggregator, which in order to make some most profitabilities. So yeah, that's all. And if you want to know more about intents or this slide or some on-chain data, let me know. This is my Telegram, so please add to me. So in the session, that's all. And I switch to the question. I have two questions. Okay. So first one is, I think based rollup can solve the cross-chain problem. Yeah, I think so, but it depends on the price or chain as well. For example, Intents protocol, it's not only the EVM to EVM bridge, but also we can send some tokens to EVM to non-EVM chain. So we have some chance to make broader the ecosystem compared to any kind of bridge solutions. Or what is the risk of relayer centralizations? Yeah, I think this is an important point because, yeah, this is a major intense problem. So if we cannot find good relayer or good RFQ, the liveness goes down and performance is also not good. So this is like just centralization's breach on the on-chain. So this is a very, very problem. So I think price and speed, performance, and liveness is very important in order to make decentralized bridge in the future. So I think for the Slido, that's it. And I left some 4-minute speech. So do you guys any questions?
Any questions for Goki?
Hi, I guess my question is, in the system that does have decentralized fillers, like you showed in your graphs that some of your fillers were doing like more than 50%. Is that really a risk to the system? I mean, like if one filler is like taking most of the requests, as long as there's one other one, that one won't be able to censor some transactions, right?
Yeah, at this time, yeah, for example, over the 100K transactions, they can only one solver is existed. So sometimes, for example, this solver, for example, AWS goes down, this kind of transaction is failed. So this is a problem. Yeah. So I think in the low volume, there are a lot of the feeders. So if some AWS or some infrastructure goes down, but bridge is successful because there are a lot of any other off-chain actors. But highly volume, it's more centralizations, so we have some risk for some hacking or some stopping on the transactions. So that's why we need a lot of more solver in the future.
Thank you.
Hey, I guess one more thing on the solver centralization. I think that one of the dangers, and I think like Tarun wrote a good paper about this, is if you have, let's say, a solver that dominates like 80% of all order flow, they can get to a point where like they capture like so much order flow and therefore so much of the like surplus that they have basically like this ability to just like take lower than they would profit at a long enough time to basically avoid all the other solvers being able to run ever and then like basically exiting the market. And I think we haven't seen it yet, right? Like I think it's probably too early for that, but that's definitely kind of like one of the concerns I think that people are having with like respect to solver centralization. But that was just more a comment. But I'm curious on your protocol about the like vaults. Like how do you what's your mechanism to allow basically like I assume you'd basically give loans to solvers. So like how do you enforce that like they don't just like take the money and run with it? Like are they bonded? Are they like, yeah, kind of curious how that works.
Yeah, great questions. So I think in our protocol, this is like cross-chain versions flash loans. So first of all, we have to make some proof by TEE on the source chain request transactions by solver side. So we can ensure this kind of transactions, if this solver fail, 100%, if this transaction is successful, the return to the tokens to solver board. So we have to make proof on the source chain's request at first. And the second point is solver is just make some requests to fill the intents, but the actor actually fill the intent is board itself. So solver not borrow the token directly, but just requests fill transactions to board side, and board verifies the request transactions, and after that board fill the transactions and directly go back to fund to board as well. So only solver have to do is make strategies and make proof and send requests to board.
Okay. And thank you for Goki's reply and thank you for